Luca Good. But how and why Luca Good? This is going to be my first movie review on the channel, very exciting, so excuse any of my many potential misgivings. Anyways, let's make this quick. Luca is a spin on the classic Little Mermaid tale, or at least that's how I see it from my little experience with that story. Calm down, people. The pun was not intentional. I repeat, the pun was not intentional! But Luca is about, Luca, a young boy who's a member of the species only known as fish monsters, who are actively hunted down and feared by the humans up above in the town of Porto Rosso. Luca is actively advised by his parents to never go to the surface and go through with the change, but haphazardly ends up teaming up with a boy named Alberto to adventure through the surface. This is pretty standard story structure on a base level. Child lives at home wanting more. Parents do not want the child to leave because of the dangers of the real world. Child leaves anyway with the help of a friend. Shenanigans ensue. But this movie throws a lot more in here than I was expecting out of. I don't actually know. I just have this annoying voice in my head that mysteriously seems to take the shape of my attitude as a 9th grader, and I just have to tell him to shh. So my expectation of quality from media has been weirdly skewed, which is why I wanted to make this review. To reinvigorate how much I frickin' love animation and how I should watch more things. Media literacy and whatnot. Did you know that I've only seen like half of the Renaissance movies? Anyways, the premise might be simple, but the story itself delivers astoundingly. The visuals, however... I'm joking, the movie doesn't look that bad. That was also a joke, please don't hurt me. I love the style of it. There are multiple points where the characters looked almost 2D, striking poses for an extended amount of time, or only moving in horizontal axis with the camera helping them out. I appreciate what seems to be this movement towards having 3D and 2D work more in harmony, a la Klaus. The art style as well as the animation style is also a treat to look at. Again, I have a spotty record with movies in general, but I know that Pixar is supposed to be one of the standards of animation, and they push it here. I've never paid this much idle attention to the landscape and environmental background of a film since The Good Dinosaur, but that was for more reasons than it being pretty. But the environment feels not just like a living and breathing area, but the living and breathing area that we're all home to. Earth, not Italy. The characters are also appealing partly because of the amount of casual detail that went into them. Plenty of characters have freckles, not only on their faces but their arms as well. Blush is also prevalent throughout their faces and hands, with curls being a prominent feature. Ah yes, we are ever getting closer to Spider-Verse supremacy! That is a joke that I think only I will get, screw you. Again, I also like how you practically see them in a 2D style, or at least can visualize them as such. Solid, Pixar, Polish. The only aspect of the presentation that I think was lacking a bit was the soundtrack. It's at its best when it embraces guitars and percussion. The Italian tracks also add a nice feel to the film, but other than that it's mostly just regular old orchestral. But Lodney, what about the characters? You said you were gonna get to that later is now, duh. Alberto is a genuine delight to have on screen, and I never saw him as more grating than the story was intending to. Julia and Massimo also surprised me with how they're written. What? I got a soft spot for himbo dads. You could say he cares about his family. Get out of my head, get out of my head, get out of my head, get out! As far as I could tell from both of my watches, the story never sacrificed a character's established intelligence just to get through a story beat. And that helps to make the characters not just feel like walking pixels on my monitor, but walking pixels on my monitor with hearts. I like how the residents of Porto Rosso feel more grounded until they catch a whiff of a sea monster. They're cartoony, but not annoying, which is something that gets messed up and conflated way too often. Ercole is also a nice example of cartoony and villainous, but not to an annoying extent. He is beauty, he is grace, blah blah blah, watch this video, subscribe. I'll wait. Good. I appreciate the fact that Pixar decided to have a villain be the villain from their introduction. The last Pixar film I saw was Coco, and I did sort of groan when the twist villain was revealed. Not to say that twist villains are useless or shouldn't be used, but I could see what people were talking about with the fatigue, because the last Disney film I saw before that was Zootopia. Zootopia Central Station, more like Twist Villain Central.
Why, it's okay.
Get out of my head, get out of my head. Ercole, however, serves the wonderful purpose of being an obstacle for a protagonist to worry about other than oppression, and it was refreshing seeing him on screen. I don't really have much to say in the realm of spoilers without talking too much, but I don't really have any complaints with the movie. Hey, listen, I really tried to look for things that didn't work or that I didn't like, but the most I could come up with were nitpicks. I'm new to criticism that isn't video games, and I wanted to try something new. To close, ending is nice, movie is very pretty, Ercole is king, and so is Alberto. Subscribe. I give this movie